And Beterbiev is so powerful, so strong. He makes a fight of it. Man oh man, can Beterbiev bring it? Forth they go, short right hand from the champ, and Kalajdzic is hurt.
Most Soviet Union countries have been like Oxford for young fighters and boxing champions throughout the years. The Klitschko brothers, Povetkin, Valuev, Usyk, Lomachenko, all these elite boxers and former champions came from the same region and were tutored by the same Soviet school of boxing. While the boxing world is distracted by the potential matchup between Tyson Fury and Alexander Usyk, not many are aware of the boxer who is so skilled and gifted that he can eventually beat Usyk. Canelo and Bivol in the future, we are talking about an undefeated boxer who comes out of Russia, finishing all his opponents with a perfect record of 18-0. This fighter is so feared and avoided that it's even hard to find a boxer who would accept a fight against him.
Because Beterbiev, he kind of looks like the sort of guy who could almost take you out with any punch with either hand.
His punching power is unreal, and his defense is impregnable. He is a unified light heavyweight champion.
Artur Beterbiev is the unified light heavyweight champion of
Having held the IBF title since 2017,
Defending IBF light heavyweight champion of the world, introducing Artur Beterbiev.
the WBC title since 2019, and
He doesn't look good. Oh, they're up on the apron. That's it. It's over. 10th round, TKO. Artur Beterbiev, 16-0, 16 knockouts.
and the WBO title since June 2022.
Paint on any of the labels you want for Artur Beterbiev.
He is such a talented and powerful fighter, and we might even see him following Usyk's footsteps about moving to heavyweight and dominating in that category. His name is Artur Beterbiev.
I had 2 fights, unification fights. Unification fights is more interesting, you know?
Beterbiev is a Russian of Chechen origin born on the 21st of January 1985 in Dagestan. This
UFC is going to be dominated by Dagestanis or Russians, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
This part of Russia has been producing superior MMA fighters for years, and the boxing stage is nothing less. Another Chechen fighter in the UFC, Hamzat Chimaev, once said that in his village in Chechnya, only women do not wrestle, and all men do wrestle at some point in their life. If that was the case in Beterbiev's town as well, then we should not be surprised that he started training and wrestling and boxing at a very early age. Artur wasn't always as friendly and humble an individual as he is today. As a youngster,
I had very good preparation, very good camp in Russia, and we were ready for a fight.
he was very hot-headed with a short temper. He was once kicked out of the wrestling gym due to starting a fight, never to return. However, he was kicked out of the boxing gym multiple times for the same reason, starting a fight, but he always returned. That was an early indication that wrestling is not his forte and boxing is what he should dedicate his time to. At the age of 13, he was influenced by the book called Tips for a Young Boxer. The book taught him that you couldn't succeed in boxing unless you have a strong coach you can trust, a coach who is your trainer, and a life tutor. This explains why Beterbiev will move to Canada to train under coach Mark Ramsey in the future. Beterbiev won his first medal at the Russian Championship in 2003 when he was 18 years old.
I look at them, I study them. I remember first time I saw Beterbiev, to me it was like he was world
As an
champion.
amateur, Artur won a silver medal at the 2007 World Championships, gold at the 2008 Boxing World Cup, and 2009 World Championships. And
it's pretty much all over. Beterbiev has done it.
And he wins by another point at the...
And gold at the 2006 and 2010 European Championships. At that time, he fought in the light heavyweight division. His mother's dream was for him to compete and win in the Olympics. Pursuing his, and especially his mother's wish, he fought at the 2012 Olympics, where he reached the quarterfinals of the heavyweight bracket. However, here he will face the young Alexander Usyk and lose on points. Imagine if these two fighters fought today. That fight would be massive. Both were relatively unknown then. Today, they are both champions in their respective categories. Considering that Beterbiev beat Usyk's close friend, Alexander Usyk, a few years ago, we can't...
Trying to come over the top with the right hand. That's it. It's over. Artur Beterbiev is the unified.
We can't dismiss a scenario where these two boxing royals meet in the ring again.
As we get this job done. And there's the end of the fight. Down number 3.
Unified light heavyweight.
As mentioned before, Beterbiev moved to Montreal to pursue a professional career, making Canada his home. He won his professional debut via a second-round TKO over Christian Cruz. He won his next 4 bouts via stoppages, and none of his opponents reached the 5th round. After displaying such dominance,
There's an uppercut. Beterbiev's on the attack. Joe Smith is...
Beterbiev would face Tavoris Cloud for the vacant NABA title in September 2014. Artur was not hesitating to trade with the powerful boxer who had never been dropped in his professional career.
Tavoris Cloud, but the nightmare experience he had here against Adonis Stevenson is continuing against Beterbiev.
However, in the final minute, Beterbiev would drop Cloud 3 times via combinations and close the show in the second round with more combinations that would knock his opponent out. This was Artur's first professional title.
Ladies and gentlemen, the winner of this bout by knockout at 38 seconds of the second round.
Beterbiev's chin will be put to the test for the first time in his career in December 2014, when he is dropped for the very first time by Jeff Page Jr.
Right here in the opening frame.
That's right.
Down goes Beterbiev on a right hand.
I felt a bit sleepy before the fight. I think I just lost my concentration for a fraction of a second, said the Russian fighter regarding that.
Beterbiev just got the better of him. He came straight over top with that straight right.
However, all of that will be irrelevant because he will have his hands raised again, winning this bout in 2 rounds and earning the vacant IBF North American and NABO light heavyweight titles. In the next bout, Artur will face the former IBF world champion, Gabriel Campio. This time, the Russian delivered multiple shots to the body, and later in the 4th round, he landed a straight slash uppercut hybrid followed by a left hook, knocking his opponent out.
Like nobody's business. Take another look as the uppercut Campio.
This walk-off knockout would make even Mark Hunt jealous. To this day, Beterbiev's coach is still studying this hybrid punch that landed with 973 pounds per square inch power, a punch that earned him the North American title.
I mean, obviously a magnificent, performance, and, I think it was a surprise to a lot of people.
Being 14-0 at the time, it was time for Beterbiev to face arguably the biggest challenge of his career, and what better challenge than the 2012 Olympic bronze medalist, Alexander Usyk. Usyk was also undefeated in his professional career up to that point, and held an even more impressive record than Artur, 17-0, with 14 victories by knockout. The winner of Usyk versus Beterbiev would hold 2 of the 4 world titles at 175, and set up further unification matches. Someone's zero had to go. This fight wasn't a walk in the park for the Russian. It was very competitive.
Round number 1, Leon. Man, because that's what he sort of called. He escapes, and guess which moving on.
With Usyk's accurate counterpunching neutralizing Artur's pressure, landing some good shots, and even leading on the scorecards up to the finish. However, the tougher keeps going when things get tough, and Beterbiev is a bit tougher than the undefeated Ukrainian. As the fight went on, Usyk started to fade and get tired.
Usyk landed a shot in the chin. The last 30 seconds.
As Beterbiev took control of the fight, leaving the Ukrainian pretty shaken up at the end of the 9th round. Artur kept the pressure in the 10th round, which was too much for Usyk to withstand, and he took the knee early in the round, granting Beterbiev the most significant victory in his career. To make this even scarier, Usyk was hospitalized for 2 days after this fight.
Trying to come over the top with the right hand. That's it. It's over.
If Artur was one of the most avoided fighters before this bout, you can... could only imagine now, after sending the undefeated Ukrainian to the hospital. Beterbiev.
Here we see Beterbiev. He knew Bozdik was on his way. Right hands. Here we see him step to the side. What he did was he took him back 10 years ago when he knocked him out.
Beterbiev had 2 title defenses after this fight before being matched against Joe Smith Jr.
After the knockout of Gvozdik, they call you the most dangerous man in boxing. Is that true?
Мне неприятно, меня самым опасным как называют? Я самый простой человек.
For the WBO light heavyweight title on the line.
And here he comes with that onslaught. Some of those shots get around clean.
When you match 2 champions inside the ring.
Gets around the guard.
It's a heavy shot. It's a clubbing shot.
Oh, off balance.
You expect a competitive fight with unpredictable outcomes, right? That wasn't the case in this bout. Beterbiev knocked down Smith Jr. 3 times in the first 2 rounds.
Inside here in round 2. Big exchange on
Winning the fight via technical knockout in the second round, unifying 3 major world light heavyweight titles.
This is over. Artur Beterbiev has done it.
Running through everyone they put in front of him, the Russian seemed unstoppable. And finding a worthy opponent is even more complex than ever. The questions that come regarding that are, what makes Beterbiev so unique, and why is his style a riddle that nobody can solve yet? Training is undoubtedly the crucial aspect of creating a champion. Beterbiev's cardio hasn't been tested more than a couple of times in his professional career.
And this is everything every boxing fan has ever asked for. What they want is this guy. Like, he's coming to destroy.
And even in the late rounds, he never seemed tired or slowing down. Aside from jumping rope, he works on his cardio by running upstairs. Also, growing up in Dagestan, the mountains cover an area of 25,500 square kilometers, and the average height of the entire territory of Dagestan is 960 meters above sea level. People here are built differently. Beterbiev follows the classic Soviet style of boxing. He does what every boxer does for training, like heavy bag punching and mid-work. He primarily focuses on close combat combinations and drills different scenarios while doing the mid-work with his coach. And, of course, he does shadow boxing and heavy lifting to gain more power and explosiveness.
Just letting that left hand go, and then a right as well, and he's got Cloud trapped here, and Cloud is down.
All these training methods seem nothing out of the ordinary, but what gives Beterbiev an edge over the others is his incredible discipline in diet and healthy life. He has never drunk alcohol in his life, and he is not known for partying or eating unhealthily. He would only absorb food that would help his body, keep him at his peak, and prolong his career. In the ring, the Russian had barely ever been in trouble, and that's all thanks to his impregnable defense. Artur is a concrete example of why having a solid base is so important in boxing.
This is about over right now. You're forward in the corner. He already checked out. Trust me.
He follows a balanced 50-50 stance and planted feet, allowing him to have better hip control to produce more power in his punches, especially in the left hooks. Besides generating powerful punches, the strong base allows a strong guard, like a wall, to absorb the opponent's punches. At the same time, it will enable you to stay locked and loaded to counterpunch and deliver a massive strike whenever there is an opening. With such a solid guard, Beterbiev doesn't have to do a lot of head movement or move around like Lomachenko, allowing him to save energy for the later rounds. Whenever the opponent throws a combination, instead of dodging, the Russian stands his ground, absorbs the punches to his guard, and delivers massive counterpunches that would wobble boxers who possess granite chins. So far, 18 opponents have tried to find the blueprint for solving this style, but none have succeeded. Artur Beterbiev will turn 38 this January, and he probably has only a few more years to fight on an elite level. He is expected to make a mandatory title defense against the #1 ranked WBO light heavyweight contender Anthony Yarde. If Beterbiev fights his fight and implements his game plan as always, he shouldn't have many problems in defeating the British boxer if he beats Yarde in January. That leaves a lot of open doors for the Russian after his fight against Smith Jr. Beterbiev made it clear that he would prefer to face the undefeated WBA champion, Dmitry Bivol. Now, that would be massive. Bivol does not possess that punching power like Beterbiev. However, he is also an undefeated Russian boxer who made his name famous after beating Canelo Alvarez, even though Bivol might not be so dangerous that he can knock Artur out. He is still a boxer who matches his compatriot in technique and could edge Beterbiev on the scorecards. Considering that Artur is slowly walking towards the retirement door, we might see him wanting a money fight against Canelo. Both boxers possess massive power in their hands, and in a possible matchup, each one of them could get clipped or even knocked out.
Good left hand. Really fudges.
Look out. Johnson goes down a right hand. That was just a crazy.
And, of course, avenging his loss against Alexander Usyk makes sense as well. Beterbiev already fought at heavyweight, and as he gets older, he might make the heavyweight division his home before retiring. They fought early in their careers, and now Beterbiev is a different kind of animal. But so is Usyk. If the Russian decides to move up to heavyweight to face Usyk, that would be one of the year's most anticipated fights. Artur Beterbiev is a perfect boxer, and he is the only one who could beat 3 of the boxers mentioned above. That would be a fairy tale story, but indeed not as easy as Sunday morning.
Yeah, I will help for Tyson Fury if he needed.
Regardless of what the future brings for this elite boxer, he is one of the most underrated fighters in boxing history, and he deserves more respect to be put on his name.
Moving towards unification, he now stands as one of the sport's most daunting figures.